Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is September the 3rd, 2020, and we are going to redo the video on Ezekiel chapter 4. Now, you may have realized my mistake by now. In the first video, I had a problem discerning what these bands were that were on Ezekiel. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it is the persecution from the Sunday law. Well, you probably already figured it out. But Sunday law can't apply while you're in captivity. No, it's not the Sunday law. It's that no one believes. It's the laws that say that you're not allowed to worship God, that there is no God. I don't know what I was thinking. It makes everything make more sense. Now I understand. It just slipped out of my brain. I forgot. Now I understand why they said, "Yet shall they know that there has been a prophet among them." Okay, now that makes sense. They're denying God, so of course they're going to deny the prophets. Now we understand the bans. The bans are that it's illegal. They're going to make it illegal. So he can't just go out as a preacher or a prophet and talk to the people. No, there's restrictions. He has to have a different way of doing this other than just speaking the word out to the people, because if he does that, he can get thrown in jail. He can't even reprove the people, because if he reproves them, he's using Yahweh's moral law in order to do that, in order to justify it. And there are no moral laws without God to teach them to us. So that's the bans. And I had to figure that out. Well, let's read it, and when I get to the point, then I'll stop and I'll explain to you. "Thou also, son of man, take thee a tile, and lay it before thee, and portray it upon the city, even Jerusalem." Let's go ahead and talk about the son of man now. The son of man is a man that is in sin. It has to be that. Let's see. Let's go to Daniel chapter 2. It has to be a man that knows the truth that's in sin. Because when you go to Daniel chapter 2, it says, hold on. He explains it. Okay, the king Nebuchadnezzar has a dream. Daniel tells him what the dream is, and then he interprets it for him. "This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king." He's speaking for Yahweh now, who gave him the interpretation. "Thou, O king, art king of kings, for the God of heaven has given thee a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and has made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold." The children of men, Nebuchadnezzar did not have kingship over the entire world. He did not. He had kingship over the children over Jerusalem. He had kingship over God's people. These are Yahweh's people that are the children of men. So they have to know God, and they have to be living in sin. Because if they're not living in sin, then they're the sons of God. Do you see? So they have to have sin upon them. Now, because it's exactly the same thing, except for sons of men, it says children of men. Same thing with daughters of men. All the same. Okay. So, and I know that Yahushua called himself the Son of Man. Yahushua had the sins put on him. I guess that's why. I don't know why. But nothing else is going to fit for Son of Man. Nothing else is going to fit. So if Yahushua is the exception, then he is the exception. But King Nebuchadnezzar did not have kingship over everyone. He was attacked. his city was conquered. It was conquered. That, by definition, means that you don't have control over the people that conquered you. Okay, so let's go ahead. So, okay, thou also, son of man, take thee a tile, and lay it before thee, and portray upon it the city, even Jerusalem, and lay siege against it, and build a fort against it, and cast them out against it. Set the camp also against it, and set battering rams against it round about. Okay, so now that we know that we're in captivity, I mean, we don't believe in God. Of course, we have quite a different outlook. So the siege against it is the fort against it here, and the mount and the camp. That represents the people. The battering rams, those are the armies that are encamped against it. But that's not Ezekiel. Ezekiel is not the fort, the camp, the arm. No, Ezekiel represents God. That's why he's going to uncover his arm. We'll see in a minute. Moreover, take thou unto thee an iron pan, and set it for a wall of iron between thee and the city, and set thy face against it, and it shall be besieged, and thou shalt lay siege against it. This shall be a sign to the house of Israel. So it's going to be besieged. And Ezekiel, is going to lay siege against it. And of course, it's encamped by the fort and the battering rams. They're sieging it as well. And this is the sign to the house of Israel, that they are under siege. Not just by the armies, but by the hand of God also. Lie thou also upon thy left side, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it. According to the number of days that thou shalt lie upon it, thou shalt bear their iniquity. Now I have to repeat it. Sorry, but I'm going to take the other video down. Bear their iniquity. The only reason why Ezekiel would bear the iniquity of another person is if Yahweh is not able to act as the high priest at that time to bear the iniquity of the people, which means he's either completed the atonement and the wrath is going out, or he's in the process of completing it. Something like, well, we know that the wrath is going out, so he must have already judged these people in order for, the wrath to be going out against them. So he's already completed the atonement for some of the living, for sure. So, but there is a scripture, which I don't have, that says that the high priest bears the iniquity of the people. And so since Yahushua is our high priest in heaven, he's not able to bear the iniquity at this time. There's something going on in heaven which is not allowing him to be in the temple, or to have sin upon him and bear the iniquity of the people. If he's going through the atonement, he cannot have sin upon him at that time. So anyway, lie thou also upon thy left side, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it. According to the number of days that thou shalt lie upon it, thou shalt bear their iniquity. That's 390 days. That 390 days is a separate prophecy than the 390 years. For I have laid upon thee the years of their iniquity, according to the number of the days, 390 days. So shalt thou bear the iniquity of the house of Israel. So he's going to bear the iniquity for 390 years. The siege is for 390 days. And we know that from Ezekiel, from the sixth trumpet, because in the sixth trumpet there's a prophecy that says that he has waited for the day, the hour, the month, the year, the month, the day, the hour. And that adds up. If you add it up, it comes up to 391 days. Incidentally, I don't think I mentioned this before, but I did a little calculation on this date here of like the 5th day of the 4th month. And if the equinox is earlier, if the equinox comes late in the year and you can celebrate the Passover earlier, like in the 15th or something like that, then then it comes out to where the Feast of Pentecost is near the end of the month. But if you have to add that extra month and go into April in order to start the year, like next year, it's the equinox is like it's it's gonna, put it this way, Passover is gonna be sometime in April, and so the Pentecost is gonna be like the 4th or the 5th of the 4th month. Yeah, it's gonna be early in the year, so this is possible. Anyway, I mean, it could possibly be the Pentecost. Anyway, and let's continue. For I have laid upon thee the years of their iniquity according to the number of days, 390 days. So shalt thou bear the iniquity of the house of Israel. And when thou hast accomplished them, lie again on thy right side, and thou shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah 40 days. I have appointed thee each day for a year. So this is why I had to go back and look at it, besides the Sunday Sabbath. Because when I originally read this to you all, I was under the impression that he was laying on his side for a year. And then I realized that could not be, because he has to get up and teach the people and be the watchman. Okay? So now I had to go back and I had to figure out. So then I had to go back and figure out what exactly was going on here when he says this. And when thou hast accomplished them, wait a minute, let's read on. Therefore thou shalt set thy face toward the siege of Jerusalem, and thine arm shall be uncovered, and thou shalt prophesy against it. And behold, I will lay bands upon thee, and thou shalt not turn thee from one side to another till thou hast ended the days of thy siege. So we're going to come back to that. I just want to say real quick, because I kind of skipped over this. I jumped the gun. The 40 days are separate. There are scriptures that show that he could not have been laying on his side sequentially for the 390 days and the 40 days. Just based on the dates, he had to have taken a break in between. So, but there is room to believe that he was lying on his side for 390 days. And I did, at the beginning of the last recording, I did believe that. But then I convinced myself that it just couldn't be true. So I had to come back and figure out what was going on here with the bands. I will lay bands upon thee, and thou shalt not turn thee from the one side to another till thou hast ended the days of thy siege. And that's when I realized it's the same word that is in the previous chapter. It's bands. So if he's laying bands upon him, the immediate thing that came into my mind was, this has to be a law that's written in his mind, because that's the way we operate as Christians. First and foremost, we are concerned with God and his reputation. And so we are concerned about the things that we do in public and the image that we put forth for him. I wish I could remember that scripture. It's something like, go forth and let people see your work so that they, what is it? Go forth and let people see your works. Yahushua was said it. I don't know. So that they might know God, and I don't know. But the crux of it was, people are going to know God by the good works that you do, which is something that Christians kind of live by. We try to do good things in the name of God, even when they're selfish. They know that they just can't go around, well, there's always that preacher that kicked some woman in the face and said God told him to do it. He just keeps coming back up into my mind. So there are people that do a whole lot of bad things in the name of God. But those who have read the book know that that is not Yahweh that they're speaking of. No. So what this is, when he says, I will lay bands upon thee, he has put something at the forefront of his mind to where he is not going to turn his attention. His primary focus and attention is the siege against Jerusalem. So he, God, Yahweh, is against Jerusalem. That's what's going on here. He's against them. The battering rams, the camps, and all of this, these are the people that are against them. That's the army. But so is God, because they're being judged. And it says, behold, I will lay bands upon thee, and thou shalt not turn thee from one side to another till thou hast ended the days of thy siege. That's the only thing I could get from having this sentence in here and having him up and walking around, because you don't use that type of terminology when you are telling a person to get up and go there and lay down for 4 hours. No. That's not the wording you would use if they were going to go there and lie down and pay siege and play, shoot them up for 4 hours. No, their attention. He has their primary goal, and they're focusing their attention. And so he's describing it as, you are not going to turn from one side to another until his goal has been complete. And we think like that. And I think I gave an example of that in Ezekiel 1, where it said that the 4 living creatures in the wheel went straight. They went straight to their goal. They didn't turn to the left. They didn't turn to the right. They did exactly they knew exactly where they were going, and they went straight there. And we know. We've lived our lives. We know it doesn't seem that way, but that's the way it is. Anyway, take thou also unto thee wheat and barley and beans and lentils and millet and fitches, and put them in one vessel, and make thee bread thereof according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon it, upon thy side. 390 days shalt thou eat thereof. The food is still coming from one vessel during the siege. And we don't know where they are in the siege at this particular point, but we know that he's playing it out and that there is no food coming in. That much we do know. We don't, because he's in captivity now. So he's playing it out for our sake. One moment. Okay, and okay, right here, 10. And thy meat which thou shalt eat shall be by weight 20 shekels a day. From time to time shalt thou eat it. Thou shalt drink also water by measure. 6 parts of an hin from time to time shalt thou drink. And thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that comes out of a man in their sight. So this is not... Now, when I first read it, I may have said it in other videos, I thought that the human dung was mixed with the food, but it's not. He is using the dung as fuel to burn and cook and bake his barley cakes with it. So that's his fuel. There's not going to be any water, no power. None of the luxuries that we have in life at this particular time. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard fought. And all the food is going to come from one source as rations. And that is because, by the way, there has to be embargoes placed upon us. There just has to be. There has to be embargoes placed upon us in order for all of the nations to come against us, as the prophecies say. Sister White says that it's in Isaiah chapter 10, I believe it was, Isaiah chapter 10. All of the heathen nation is going to go out against us. All of the heathen nations don't have armies. They don't. So they have to refuse to sell us something, or sell us food, or trade with us. And that's what's going to drive us into this this predicament here, or part of it, part of it. I guess the primary thing is Yahweh being against us. And thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that cometh out of a man in their sight. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. Then said I, Lord God, behold, my soul has not been polluted, for from my youth up even until now have I not eaten of that which dieth of itself, or is torn in pieces, neither came there abominable flesh into my mouth. Then he said unto me, Lo, I have given thee cow's dung for man's dung, and thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure with astonishment. that they may want bread and water and be astonied one with another and consume away in their iniquity. And that astonied, yeah, that's the same word that was used, where he just sat there and did nothing and said nothing and just sat there in astonishment for 7 days amongst the people. But so what's going on, which you probably knew, I hope you had caught it, is that the non-belief in Yahweh has taken, and they're carrying it with them into captivity, and no, we don't believe in God. But see, Yahweh has Ezekiel there, because if he doesn't have Ezekiel there, if he doesn't have someone there to tell the people, no, this is not because of the heathen, this is because of me, then they're going to start to think that their gods are actually gods, and that their God actually allowed them to conquer our God. And that's simply not the case. And Yahweh he's not going to allow that to happen. It's just not. So they're going to believe that there was a prophet of God among them when all of this is said and done, when the dust settles and everything clears up. They're going to know. But he's not going to be able to tell them. They're just going to be able to see it. Anyway, I guess that's all I have to say about Ezekiel 4. We will plunge into Ezekiel 5 next. And I think if I have any other corrections, I'll just wait. But this one was kind of big, so I had to redo the video. Any questions or comments, please leave them below. Until next time, bye.